Record. Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode number 19 of the NFP podcast presented by 3D Entertainment. The NFP podcast is brought to you by Sneaky Weasel Lager and Hey Y'all Southern Iced Tea, the official alcohol sponsor of the show. As well, our official clothing sponsor, Wrangler. Long live Cowboys. What's up, everybody? Glad to have you back. Episode 19, big episode, big guest today. Before we get to that, here's the boys, Jason Davidson. How we doing today?
Not bad, buddy. Not bad. Number 19, eh? Stevie Y. Stevie Eiserman today, huh?
Yep. Yeah,
wow.
Definitely. Yeah.
So we've been at this for about 20 weeks then? Is that what you're getting at?
Yeah, it just feels like yesterday, doesn't it?
It does. It does.
As well, Scott Byrne back again. How we doing, Scott?
Good fellas, you 20 weeks. Thank God, because I look forward to it. With all this shit going on, I'm like, I get excited every time I get a text. We're going this time on this day. I'm like, running to the house. Let's do this. So
let's get it going. Yeah, it's been good that way. People have been enjoying it too. A good way to get past all the fucking bullshit that's going on in the world. You can come with us and lose yourself for a little bit and enjoy some time.
Yeah,
that's right.
How was Easter?
How'd you learn some new words?
Yeah, exactly.
Easter, good. Yeah, just spent it with small group of family and ate too much like usual. Stayed off the beers as best I could, but yeah, it was all right. It's Easter, so watched lots of hockey again. I've been watching lots of hockey. That's been my day.
Do you have to still hide the eggs and shit, or no? Your kids are too big for that.
They're too big now. They're hiding the eggs for their little cousins and stuff.
Yeah, gold.
Yeah.
You're not hiding your own yet, though, are you? You're not hiding your own Easter eggs yet.
No, I just wait for the kids to come back and then go through their little pails and take what I want.
Yeah. Usually it's a Reese's Pieces.
Have you tried the Reese's Pieces eggs?
Yeah.
Or the Reese peanut butter cup eggs. Sorry, there's a difference.
Wow.
And
I'm not fussy.
the Reese eggs are they're next level, National League level for sure.
Scott, you guys do anything?
Yeah, we just had family over. It was Dylan's birthday, so he's 15 now. So we double celebrated. Ate too much, and I always like Easter. It's kind of the sign of summer's on its way, or the leaves are going to start popping.
Right.
Sometimes, for some reason, it reminds me of Grandma Byrne. I don't know why. I just think because she always had stuff out for Easter and so that kind of reminds me of that. But no, it was good. Got together. Fuck
COVID. Why it reminds you of Grandma? Because that's probably where you guys went. And when you get to the farm, you're spread out, you're doing more things, there's no snowbanks to run through. Spring is, hopefully sprung by then. But yeah, I agree with you, man. I remember my Grandma Vi's place at Easter. Yeah, that was where you kind of realized it's coming. You could be running outside in a t-shirt instead of a freaking parka and gloves and a tunic, right?
Yeah, it's always a great time of year. Yeah,
you Tanner, outside. What'd you guys do?
Well, my kids are right prime age for Easter Bunny and all that sort of stuff at 2 and 5. So about fucking 16 different Easter egg hunts at our place, and then each grandparent's place, and the whole kit and kabang there. So that was good. And same thing, lots of supper and fucking few wobbly pops there, and had a good time as per
Sneaky Weasels.
Oh yeah, you know it. It was good, and like you say, it's the snow is melting, so our American viewers in the South are probably like, what the fuck are these guys talking about? But literally, like, last week was the first time around here that I could go outside and do something outside without freezing or being in the snow and throw the baseball around or throw the football around. So it's good. Get out, get active, gets everybody in a good mindset that summer's coming. Golf courses are going to be open. The Masters is fucking coming up next weekend. That always gets everybody pumped for golf. Usually makes the golf courses want to open up sooner. So things are looking up. We're getting to it.
Have any of you fellows ever played that course?
Which one?
Where the Masters are at?
Oh, fuck no. I wish. I mean, I'd probably just eat me alive, but yeah, it'd be a bucket list to just go and hang out there.
I seen a thing on TV. There's one hole there. The green is right in the middle of a man-made lake.
Oh yeah.
And
No,
I thought,
that's in Florida. That one.
is it?
Famous number 17. Yeah, I played that. I've got that golf ball. One thing, Scott, you got gypped out of with Wrangler is the amount of money they invested in their sales meetings. You got to go to Greensboro every year. Like, we played some phenomenal golf courses. Sawgrass. That's Sawgrass. That's in, I want to say Jackson, somewhere in Florida. Anyway, we were there twice and we couldn't play it the one year because it was too cold. They shut her down for like 60 days ahead of the tournament. And anyway, the second time around, we got to play it. Sylvan, Dewey, Robinson.
Oh, not a bad
myself.
crew.
We parred. By the way, we parred the famous 17.
Come on.
Best ball.
Yeah. Oh yeah, best ball.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? I gotta.
That's why he said. That's why he said we.
Yeah.
No, you know what? I think Bruce Robinson parred that hole himself. Actually, we used all his shots. But here's a question for you guys. What do you think that they seat? How many people stand around that hole?
I don't know.
During the tournament?
I've never been to a live one, and I really didn't start watching it until I don't know, a couple years ago when I really started getting into golf a whole bunch more. But fucking huge fan bases, man. I don't know.
20,000.
Yeah.
Around that hole.
Just that
like
hole.
That's why they got to shut the course down for so long. You should see the bleachers that they move in. And anyway, we had to play with a caddy. Like you have to take a caddy with you.
Yeah.
And it's, you're having a good time, right? It's kind of the end of the meeting. So you're out by noon, you have your morning of meetings and then you're already having a couple beer before you even get the shotgun start. So
apparently I
tell
wouldn't
a story. Yeah, no, tell the stories, having some laughs. And so they give you a caddy.
Yeah.
Anyway, we get ours drink like he by no means should be drinking, but we get 3 or 4 Coors Light.
Yeah.
He's having a good time. But anyway, we get on these greens, and you know how you're lining up a putt around here somewhere. You might have to, maybe a cup hole.
Oh yeah, no, we're fucking talking.
You're aiming
putting
in the opposite direction. Like
Yeah.
he's showing you where to shoot, and I'm like, okay, one too many Coors Light for this guy. He goes, trust me. That's how it was at the end. Trust me, man. Trust me. And you shoot the ball in the total opposite direction as the hole was. And
all those courses, like especially ones like that, they're just fucking absolutely insane.
Oh yeah. Tanner got an albatross down here at the Sunnyside Golf Course a couple years ago.
Yeah, I sure did.
Like a par 5, didn't it? It was a par 5.
It had to be. Got a 2 on a par 5. Yeah. Albatrossed it, man. Yeah, and I didn't even know that was about 170 yards out and chipped in. Fucking pure luck, but
dropped her in.
Yeah. Didn't even know that it was like a big ordeal. And I talked to Josh Matson, who's big golfer. We knew it was fucking awesome, but he's like, those are harder to get than a hole in one because your tee shot has to be perfect to line yourself up for that second shot. I was like, oh fuck, wasn't nothing. Wasn't but
I'll quote
isn't the point of the game to put the ball in the hole?
I'll just try to do that every time. Then I don't have to do that putting thing.
Bruce Dunn owns the golf course, which is just next to my land here. I told him about that. He goes, fuck that. And I'm like, no. Honest Bruce.
So on a par 5, if you did it in 2, it's called what?
Albatross. Yeah.
Really? You learn something new every day.
I
did not know that.
2 unders an eagle. And like that's why you don't hear about it because it doesn't fucking happen. It's like as rare as a hole in one.
It could only happen twice in one. I think there's only 2 par 5s in an 18-hole track, I believe.
I don't know. I think
so. Here's your challenge for the summer. Let's see if you can do 2 in one game, Tanner.
Oh, fuck. 2 in one lifetime? I don't think
I
think that was a once in a lifetime.
You're probably wandering around the fringe looking for your ball, eh? Like, where is it? Where is it?
No, me and Braden were on the cart and we watched it up and down. I was like, oh, that's gonna be good. And then just toot, 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 and it dropped. And I think we both hat throws and fucking just going wild. Yeah.
Hat throws.
Oh, it's getting me more excited to golf now. Holy shit. Fuck. Yeah. I've definitely fell in love with the game. It's pretty good.
You think we should do our version of Sandbagger?
I 100% think so. I'll get Lane LaPlante. He's already on it. He's gonna figure out how to get us mic'd and we'll have to find some. But that's the hard part. You have to have good golfers though. Like so we're talking for those that are listening in, Paul Bissonnette is our guest today. Biz Nasty, who I'm sure you know if you listen to podcasts. They have, I think it's the #1 podcast in Canada, Spittin' Chicklets hockey podcast. But they do a thing called the Sandbagger where they go and take on two opponents. And the thing with them is, though, they're always golfing against good golfers, and hockey players, you know this, Jason, they're fucking usually good golfers, right? So there'd be some, like Zayner can golf pretty good, but there's a lot of bull riders that you go and don't golf worth fuck.
No.
You know?
It's just, yeah.
They know how to. They know how to wave down the beer cart. Hey, down over here.
Yeah. But no, we'll have to get something like that lined up with the boys. NFP. We'll have to call it something else. I don't know, but some sort of sandbagger. Another thing on that, what we do got on the go is working in the mix right now. The NFP bull riding tour, approved by the PBR. We'll get Lane involved with that. We'll do some fun stuff with that, kind of breaking the announcement on that right now, but haven't totally lined out how many events it's going to be, but anywhere from 6 to 8 events right now. And we're going to do our NFP style kind of.
Maybe I'll bring us the pod live. You're going to have to get a new shoot rooster. You're going to have to get a new shoot box. Scott will be announcing, you'll be fighting bulls, and I'll bring it to our audience. I guess maybe not live. We'll tape delay it, but yeah, maybe
that'd be cool.
We'll
you know,
they got the Sandbagger.
Yeah,
we'll call her the NFP Bucking Ball or something like that. We'll have to come up with a good name.
I'm telling you, halftime entertainment. We got to talk to Ty Prescott. He's got some 400 or 500 pound Mexican heifers there.
Yeah,
and have a generations bullfight. I'm telling you, it'd be so much fun. I mean, they ain't gonna hurt you. Yeah. I know I could talk old Randy boy into stepping around them little things. It'd be so much fun because the first loser that gets knocked down by one, my God,
man,
could
you imagine?
Yeah,
so much fun.
You know what, at my place here, similar to what I did last year with the quarantine sessions, we're gonna have a couple here, and Josh Breeze's and the Scories place. So we can do whatever the fuck we want in that sense, you know, and we can do things different that maybe hasn't been done and put our imaginations together and really bring a show to our audience, NFP style.
Oh God.
Yeah. I thought you were going with, we got to get Kelly Taylor out for the halftime.
Oh,
he'll be there.
Too.
He'll be there. Yeah. So we'll incorporate him in there somehow.
Yeah,
for sure.
We might have to have Kelly Taylor as a guest co-announcer along with our rover, whoever that may be at the time. I'm not sure who you got picked out, but that guy, he'll bring a lot to the table. I mean,
definitely.
He's not going to let anybody go by without being picked on. That's what comedians do. So what the hell?
Same on top of that too. For the people that are watching on YouTube, you can see our new hats. We got some new merchandise here on the go, some NFP merch.
That's singular hat.
Well, I have the hats. I'll get you guys the hats. Jesus, I'll get you. I'm a busy guy. I can't just be
we better
every day shipping you goddamn sneaky weasels. And
I tell you what you do, Tanner. You take 4 or 5 of them caps, and each time you put it in the box, you slide a sneaky weasel underneath it, and you'll kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
Yeah, I like that.
Right, yeah. So for those,
we better give Nevada Nelson props, eh?
Yeah, Nevada Nelson
logo for
came up with this
Thanks,
logo.
Nevada.
Yeah, it's awesome. Got that Aztec hang loose vibe to it. Hashtag NFP. So if you guys like the pod, want some of these hats, give me a shout on Instagram or on Facebook, and we'll get her lined up. We got some more stuff coming here online in the future, but for now we just got a few of these hats that are a little bit hard to come by. So first come, first serve. We'll get her lined out.
They're limited edition.
Limited as
they're
fuck.
Limited.
As
fuck. I like it.
Speaking of that, Sneaky Weasel Lager. If you're looking for a smooth, refreshing beer this weekend, grab yourself a Sneaky Weasel Craft Lager. This mildly hopped craft lager delivers a bold 5.6 ABV, but goes down crisp and clean. This beer pairs well with any bull riding celebration, fun in the sun, and good times with friends. This beer is available across all of Western Canada. Sneaky Weasel Lager, the official beer sponsor of the NFP podcast. So yeah, lots of stuff on the go within the NFP world here. So we appreciate everybody's support, and it's always good to hear the feedback, good or bad. We like to have it. So keep. That's right. So hockey news, Jason, I wanted to get your opinion on this. I've been trying to follow it a little bit, but I don't really fully understand what's happening. But Vancouver's having obviously some COVID issues. They're totally shut down right now, the Canucks.
Yeah, 20 as of today, 20 players in staff. And their minor league team in Utica, New York hasn't played for, I want to say, 2 weeks due to COVID.
Holy shit.
And it's not even the fact that they're intertwined at all, because one's in New York and one, they're on opposite sides of the universe, it seems almost. But just some real bad luck. And my guy Howerlick, he's got it for the second time. He was one of the 4 Ottawa Senators that came home from Anaheim or LA last year when about a year ago, and just over a year ago. So obviously he's going to get tested again to make sure that it's not a false negative or a false positive, sorry. And maybe he's got the different variant. There's
fucking
So is there a point in the season, Jason, where they just have to say this is too late, scrap it, or like where's the be all and the end all?
They're hoping not. They're hoping not, but yeah, if they can't get over this, the playoffs are supposed to start on a certain date. So we've already went over that the last regular season game with the outbreak in Montreal that caused the Oilers missing those 2 games there last week or the week before. So they're already scheduled out. I believe they finish up a day later than they were supposed to. So when you look at the schedule, it's already pretty tight and compact. Like you can't just keep adding games and play 14 nights in a row. So they're going to have to make a decision by this time next week. They'll have made a decision. What do you do? Win percentage against Vancouver, let's say, whatever Edmonton's percentage was against, that's what they'll carry. Let's say they were supposed to play 2 more games, I believe.
Yeah.
That's what they'll carry into the standings, I guess. I don't know. I hope it doesn't come to that. I'd really like to see them play, obviously. But that's, and on the other hand, did you watch the ball game? Blue Jays home opener at Globe Life?
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
House.
42,000. 42,000 people.
Yeah, not bad. I seen pictures. Hey, it was just like hallelujah.
Yeah. Well, isn't it?
Correct me if I'm wrong, you guys, but I seen a thing this morning. I was out having a quick coffee before chores, and I read something that the Texas has seen a decline in positive cases. Now, I don't know if that's because people just aren't getting tested anymore or what, but does that not tell people something that we just can carry on here anytime soon would be good?
Well, I don't think you can tell anybody in our government anything that's remotely close to common sense, it seems. So I don't know where to go with that.
Well, here's what you're getting now, though, is it's just like anything. You can hold somebody down for a year, even like your government, you can see the pushback that's happening now. Like it's going on a year and a bit now. And you seen the guy in Alberta, the priest last weekend that kicked the cops out of his place.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Right? He wanted no part of that. And you know what? They didn't even talk back to him. He didn't let him. He just kept going at him. Good for that guy.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying, right? So it's just like anything within work or like the guys that go up north where they're saying they're going to be quarantined up there and you're going to have to stay up there. Like you could tell somebody something and they'll listen for a little while, but it gets to a point where you can't fucking control somebody and their livelihood. Right. So it's getting to that point, I think, with where they're going to have to open things up more. And that's what you're seeing in the US. It's like, we have to, or else they're just going to start going fucking rampant, right? Of opening different stuff up. But then we got shit in Regina and all these other cases that are around here that they're fucking going the other way again and shutting stuff down. But
I know several people around here, Tanner and Jason, that are not wearing masks in town anymore. They're going into stores. They've been asked to leave some, but more often than not, even the stores are sick of doing it, whether it's a grocery store or shoe store or whatever. And there's been quite a few cases where they've spent all day shopping all day and no one said a word with no mask on.
Really?
So
Have you
I
guys
think
seen? Do you guys have Barney Creech on Facebook or any social media platform?
No.
Fucking Barney. So he just grew out the biggest handlebar mustache that you've ever seen. Just this greaser of a handlebar stash. And he just goes, he's just been testing it and going to stores with just that and waiting to see if he gets kicked out. And he said he's been like documenting it on Facebook just to like prove a point or whatever. And he said that there's only been one or two that have told him not to, that he had to wear a mask. And one of them said that he said he had a medical condition, and the other one, they asked him to leave, and he said, I'll just go somewhere else. He said, I'm not making a scene about it. I'm just trying to live my life. But he's blaming it, or he's saying it's because of the stash. Everybody wants him in their store because of that sick fucking stash.
Barney.
Yeah, so that's pretty good. But yeah, we'll see what kind of goes on here right now. But I could see the NFR now that we've seen what happened at Globe Life Field with that. If Vegas isn't open by the time the NFR is supposed to come around fully, I could see them 100% going back to Globe Life Field to a sold out crowd.
Right? There's no question it'll happen. They have to. If they want to, if they want to put up that prize purse that they're accustomed to, they're going to have to, which it'll be interesting. But Nevada's supposed to be lifting some restrictions here either this week or the start of next week. So their crowd numbers have been going up at T-Mobile for the Golden Knights. So I guess if they can keep that incline going and the cases are staying down, well, then we might see a full arena.
No more than ever. We have to do something. Like we have not just for my own sake. I mean, for the whole economy, the whole country, everything.
For our country.
Yeah. We can't do this anymore. We can't.
Yeah, 100%. And California as well is opening up a little bit. I've seen, that's been probably the most lockdown state for.
Well, yeah, it was the epicenter of the whole New York.
Yeah, and they're opening up. The Ducks are, I think it might be only 10%, but they're bringing fans back here next week. I just read. So
we're so far behind on that. Like those U.S. teams are all going to have fans before we can even have one.
Yeah,
I guarantee it.
They're saying, I've heard in Saskatchewan, Scott Moe's projecting by June everybody will be vaccinated. So once you're vaccinated, what the fuck? Like you should just be able to choose where you want to go or what you want to do. And I guess there's people that can't get vaccinated because of health issues, but they probably aren't going to be at those events.
Right.
Yeah. If you have health issues. Yeah. So yeah, hopefully it just gets to that point where you're vaccinated, it's your choice what you're going to do. And fuck, I don't know. It's been racking my brain. Can't rack it anymore.
And if you're scared of it, stay home.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, and we understand if you're.
Don't be a fun hater on the rest of us.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
In bull riding news, a couple updates that we can go through. Some Canadian boys decided to hit the trail. PBR Canada had a story about it the other day. Tanner Eno, Wyatt Gleason, Tyler Craig hit the road, headed south, going to some events, and had some good success. Tanner Eno, anyway, I seen was 85 in Lebanon, Missouri to start his tour out.
8th or 9th, I think.
Yeah, really good to see those young guys fucking listening to the NFP podcast and hitting the trail, heading to the US.
Rolling on.
Yeah, fucking right. Got to do what you got to do. Jake Gardner still down there with Logan Beaver. I'm in touch with Jake quite a bit back and forth. He bucked off a few the last little while, but that's the part of the game, right? You can't get down on yourself when you get bucked off a few. Just keep rolling on.
Wyatt Gleason's with those two as well.
Yep. So those boys are rolling. And PBR in Utah, Cody Jesus takes the win. Good to see that guy back. Dealt with a lot of injury, kind of came back on the main tour. Didn't do so hot. Obviously just kind of coming back and feeling fresh. So I think this will be the key to him getting back to success in the game. Guys,
did you check out that backdrop at that arena? How cool it looked there.
That bull riding's badass, man. And they give it a Rolex to the champ.
Oh yeah,
fucking Rolly. Brock Radford won it 1 year.
And then they stop at the local pawn shop on the way out.
No, like you think, right? And they give you an option of taking like 10K cash or the Rolex. And I didn't know this, but fucking Rolexes are like investing in something like in the stock market, but they just fucking rise, man. So Brock, after he won his, I guess it's worth like 14 or 15,000 now or some freaking
Really?
thing. Yeah, watches are huge commodities, Rolexes especially. So yeah, that's a big win for guys if they can hold on to it for 10, 15 years. Who knows what it's worth at that point. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Shit, who knows? But one more ad read while we're here. Manscaped. Support for the NFP podcast is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below the waist grooming. Manscaped offers precision engineered tools for your family jewels. They obsess over their technology developments to provide you the best tools for your grooming experience. Manscaped is trusted by over 2 million men worldwide. We have an exclusive offer for our listeners, 20% off plus free shipping with the code NFP20 at manscaped.com. That's NFP capitalized 20 at manscaped.com. We just
Do you think the Manscaped folks are going to come out with Ladyscape?
probably, sure, it could be used on both. I don't know. I think they're more toward, I think there is a lot of
You guys ever
companies
find
that
your
do that.
Do you ever find your razor in your wife's bathroom and wonder where it's been?
No, have you?
No.
Just asking for a friend.
It sounds like it could go
It's probably been nowhere where you haven't been already, so it doesn't fucking much matter, does it?
This is true. This
Getting
is
a little
fair.
offside.
This is fair. But yeah, with Manscaped, we just renewed with them, and we got some cool promo stuff coming in. So we're gonna have some giveaways here in the future. So stay tuned for different promotions where you can earn yourself some Manscaped merch. Manscaped for us threw in 2 free gifts in their perfect package: a pair of high-performance Manscaped boxers briefs that'll keep your junk feeling fresh all day, and a travel shed bag to store all your grooming goodies. Trim that junk of yours. So you guys got the shed bag too, hey? I think it's handy as shit.
Yeah.
I just wanted to know if anybody read the newspaper that was in the bottom of it.
I didn't. Did you have?
I didn't read it. I've used it. I haven't read it.
It's funny as shit. And I mean, pardon the pun, you usually read when you're, on the throne. And it was good, man. There's crossword puzzles. I forgot to take a pen though. I couldn't do it. I have to do it next time.
Oh, that's good. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code NFP20 at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use the code NFP20. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. Nailed it. So we'll lead it into our interview right now. We're very honored. We teased on it earlier, but we got the man of all talents, NHL, media, can do it all. One of the funniest cats in the game, Paul Bissonnette. Jason, do you remember him when he was playing hockey or more just the guru stuff now?
Well, I actually spoke with Paul. This would be 4 or 5 years. I'd have to look. His last year with the Ontario Reign. He was teammates with a few Thunder Creek guys. Derek Morris would have been Jason LaBarbera down there, Boyd Gordon, and it was just shortly after, like, it just took off for this guy. Like, you can tell, like, our listeners who haven't spent any time on Spittin' Chicklets podcast is gonna this guy's a character. Like, I would have loved to been in the classroom in high school. Or even better, in a dressing room with them, sharing a room with a guy. Like, well, you guys, you'll find it's just like we're sitting down with a guy we've known for 15 years. He'll make you feel right at home. So I really respect what he's accomplished, and there's some stuff to take away from this pod that I think young people can learn. Like, you got to invest in yourself, and just listen closely what, some of the investments that Paul, and I say investments, I'm not talking about Bitcoin, like, invest in yourself, and that's what he did. He built his profile basically on his own. So he's definitely a character. I'd want him on my team, and whether that's a hockey team, broadcast team, or podcast team. Like
Yeah,
he's that guy.
Yeah,
He's that guy.
definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, I reached out to Stan Wilson, where of course Paul played with the Coyotes for a number of years. I reached out to Stan Wilson, the equipment manager, and you can ask any hockey player that's been through that organization. They know Stan and his son Denver, of course, now equipment manager as well. And Stan said he was, you know, when Paul first came around, he was a little bit of a pain in the ass, and they kind of had their running ins to each other. Kind of old Stan taking care of the new kid on the block, I guess. But said in the end, ended up being one of his best friends. So
yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, so he said he's unreal, the stuff that he's accomplished off the ice, let alone on. So
well, in his off ice schedule, like guys, it took us a month to get this lined out. You know, we were going to do it this day, this time, that time. Like the guy's got a lot of shit on his plate. And then my boy Lane Peterson played his first NHL game the other night against Josh Manson in Anaheim.
Yep.
With the Coyotes. So, you know, from our conversation, and then 2 days later, you listen to him. You know, he's got to clean her up a little bit when he's on that broadcast, right?
Yeah.
But he does it like he knows the game, and he can. You know, I don't want to use the word dumb it down, but he's real. Like he speaks it from a player standpoint, and doesn't really throw softballs at the guys if they're not, you know, he expects more out of players. He'll say it. I like it. I think he does a hell of a job. I really do.
Definitely. And on that note too, and that's what makes him so good, is he's versatile, and he likes, you know, if you listen to the Spit and Chicklets podcast, which I do and have for a long time, and it's really one of the main reasons I wanted to do this was the bull riding side of what Spit and Chicklets does for hockey. It's no holds barred, it's locker room talk, and that's what those guys did with Spit and Chicklets for hockey. And so they like it where they can swear and say whatever the hell they want to say, and then when it comes to their TV stuff, they know how to do it for TV, and that's why he's made himself so a hot commodity, is because he can do it all. He's not just he's not one wing where he has to go one way all the time. He does a really good job of moving all around the map and doing so much different shit. Fuck, go check him out online on his Instagram or on his Twitter. There's something new every day that this guy and that crew is up to. That's always entertaining. If you're a fan of this show, you'll be a fan of everything that they're doing. That's for sure. It's same realm of no holds barred and having a good time. So before we go to that interview though, one shout out we have to give. Jason, you can touch on this probably the most, being tied to it the closest, but it affected and affects us all still to this day, the anniversary of the Humboldt Broncos bus crash.
Yeah, 3 years today. It'll be one of those. I remember, my mom telling me where she was when she heard the news when Elvis died, or a lot of my American friends know where they were when JFK was shot, or, you know, those little things. And I'll never forget where we were. We were in Arizona, and it was, you know, first you heard the news around a little bit after 5:30 that there was a bus crash, and then the texts, and you know, we had a client on the bus. It was, that was a real tough one. I remember getting back, we were going to talk about it in the pod. We were at the Buffalo Chip with some friends, Blade and Becky Young, and the kids were riding up there and enjoying our holiday. And it was a real somber trip on the way home when you're reading what's going on Twitter and getting some updates, which it was still, there was so much mayhem and chaos for so many hours. But I remember getting back to the house and sitting on the couch and just like bawling. I didn't know if our guys were alive or they didn't make it or not. And any of our PBR fans that have been here in Saskatoon got to meet Lane Matichuk. He was one of the defensemen for the Humboldt Broncos, was one of our clients, and we've stayed in touch this whole time. His recovery has been miraculous. This isn't even the word. Where he's at today, and he wanted to walk in that PBR arena in Saskatoon, and he did. You know, he never got to have. A lot of the guys got to go to the award show in Las Vegas, and then the Stanley Cup come to Saskatoon. Chandler Stevenson took it out to Humboldt for the day. That's, I got a picture here of Chandler holding up the Stanley Cup, and you can see the Humboldt Broncos band on his arm. And that was a promise he made, and he delivered. But Lane missed out on all that. It's been a real special journey for Lane. We I don't know if you guys knew that, but we sent him to Pittsburgh to watch.
That's a cool story. Yeah, tell that one.
Yeah, so we sent him to Pittsburgh thanks to Braden Shen. He arranged it with Sid Crosby, and then Matt Recchi was involved with the Penguins at the time. I had talked to him, Mark Recchi, Matt Recchi's brother, an old bull rider from the old days, and his sister Carly Matichuk is a huge Ovi fan. So it just happened that they were playing each other, and Chandler Stevenson was at Washington Capitol at the time. And I'll never forget the messages and the calls from Lane's parents. And it was a really great thing to be able to give Lane that, a dream come true for him. Get to hang out in the NHL dressing room and whatnot. But it's tough. It's the people that were following the bus or come upon that accident were clients going to watch their son play with the Nipawin Hawks. It doesn't get any easier. In fact, I would guess a day like this is extremely hard on the families of those kids. It's going to be something that, you're right, it'll never ever be forgotten. And but it kind of opens up some wounds again when you think about it. It really does.
I think they have announced, I seen something on social media about an official tribute or something going to happen right at that site, like an official one here, much like they've done for the Swift Current Broncos just outside Swift Current. So that's nice too. That'll never bring anybody back, but goddamn, it'll remind everybody that, the ultimate price was paid. So.
Well, when we go to the Nipawin PBR, the last couple of years, we didn't obviously get to go last year due to COVID. Jackson came with me both years, my oldest son, and we stopped there. And I remember the first year stopping there and just thinking about what, it was a very cold day, and what that must have been like for the first people on the scene. And it just, actually, Caleb Dahlgren, he's got a book out about, I haven't got a chance to read it. I've seen the book. I had it in my hand and I just skimmed through it. I'm going to get it, order it. I think everybody should order the book. It's supposed to be a very well written piece.
On the Broncos or on the crash or on the whole situation?
on the crash. Caleb survived it and actually went on to university to play some more hockey, and walked away from it. So I didn't want to, I want to be able to, I'm not much of a reader unless I'm on a holiday, like somewhere. If I'm sitting in Mexico, I like to sit and read a book. So I want to, if that ever going to happen again, but I want to save it so I can give it, entire attention.
I bet you there's an emotional side on both sides of it for him as well. And that book was probably a healing process, I would think. But, for him to walk away, and so many of his colleagues and teammates that didn't, you can imagine the emotions that he has gone through every day and for the rest of his life. Why not me? Why them, kind of deal. So good for him. I know I'll when we can get a hold of it, Jason, you can let us know, and I'll be snapping up a copy for sure.
For sure. Yeah, well said, guys. That's exactly right. It hits all of us, especially Saskatchewan fam people. We all know somebody, or we're a part of those bus trips, or played minor hockey, and to see those young men just cut down at such an early age, it's truly tragic. So our thoughts,
you said it, you're on the bus, Tanner, you're playing cards with your buddies, thinking about the playoff game. It was a big playoff game for the Humboldt Broncos, and then in an instant
Yep.
I mean, in an instant, it's
Yep.
gone.
Yeah.
It's taken away
And
from
you,
you.
and you know what? It did touch everybody. Think of the millions of hockey sticks around the world that were set out on the front steps in tribute to those guys.
Yep.
I mean, you didn't drive around anywhere, and still to this day, you know,
all the stickers,
there's people
and
still
everything,
doing it. So,
and in
yeah,
effect,
so
you know, and as we say that too, not just hockey people, any person that's a
everybody.
parent,
Mm-hmm.
you understand what those parents are going through. It's
Yeah.
fucking tragic, horrible, and unexplainable. But our thoughts and prayers are with the families and the survivors and everybody that's been touched by it. And I think everybody coming together has made it bearable for everybody involved to lean on each other, and all of us come together and be able to talk about it and show our respects for those. So our thoughts and prayers with family, friends, everybody that's been affected by the Humboldt Broncos crash. With that, guys, we'll get to it. This is a fun episode, so we'll keep her going here. Paul Bissonnette's one of the funniest guys that we've been fortunate enough to have on the podcast. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, our interview with Biz Nasty.
You don't have to do no big fancy intro either. You could just
I'm going to. Just
okay, all right.
Our guest today is a former professional hockey player. You'll find him as the color analyst now for the Phoenix Coyotes, or the co-host of the legendary Barstool Sports podcast, Spittin' Chicklets, the media guru, Paul Bissonnette. Biz, how you doing today?
What an intro. I get nervous before I do the intro, so I actually just defer to RA, who's great at it. Now, do you get nervous before doing intros?
Oh, I get nervous for all this shit, dude.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Same here. Even hopping on to this interview, I always get nervous. You know, you always want to make sure you're bringing your A game. Just like before hockey games, I used to get like nauseous.
That's a question I have for you. So how you guys are always on with your pod. You guys are always energetic, it seems like, and really rolling. There's days I don't fucking feel like doing it. I feel like afterwards I fucked it up or it was too slow. How do you go about making sure that you're always doing things the right way or asking the right questions?
So that's what's tough about the way we do things. It's kind of like in the locker room, you know, you show up day to day, and you know, if you're the guy who likes to have the floor, sometimes you got to make sure you're bringing your A game. And we don't, you know, we record one time right through. It's like no redos here. Same with the interviews, right? And yeah, sometimes you have your good days, and some days you're just not there, and you sound like an absolute fucking idiot. But the good news is most of the time is we're each there to keep each other honest. And if I'm fumble fucking my words, Wit is gonna torch me. He's gonna, and I think that's just kind of the real world, and how when you're in the locker room, or whether you're, you know, at work with the buddies or at the fucking cabin, you know, you start spouting off, and the boys get on each other, and that's just kind of where we came from, boys, the locker room.
Well, I'm gonna step out here now, Biz, and you can brag on yourself here now, because this is what you need to do for us and our listeners. I think the reason you are so successful, like when you roll it back to that ALS video, like that was unbelievable. Over 1 million views. I think people can relate. You're an everyday guy and the locker room guy. Like when I communicate with my players, I love hearing the stories, and that's, you gotta, I would think that you would have to give the majority of your success because of just who you are, just Paul Bissonnette, the person. Do you agree with that? Now, and don't hold back here. This, you get to tell us exactly.
No, I think that, like, you know, as a player, especially when you're like trying to get to the next level, like I was fortunate where I came from a place where like team dynamic was important. I think that as a young person trying to get to that next level, and I don't want to say not having guidance, but you're like living away from home and stuff. So like, I think that at a certain age, maybe I wasn't as focused on the entire team dynamic, because I was just trying to balance it, like getting myself better and making sure I was getting drafted and getting, but ultimately I got to a point where I kind of just saw a ceiling, and, you know, luckily I was able to figure it out that, you know, if you're able to add a certain dynamic to the locker room, and it kind of just stems from like naturally how I am with my buddies too. Like if you're trying to make sure everybody's having a good time and everybody's happy and it's a good, fun environment, that, you know, it's having success, that, you know, it's important and everybody gets to stay happy. And, you know, I was fortunate where that attitude, which is probably like the main reason that I was able to stick. Cause like, other than the fact that I was willing to stick up for my teammates and, you know, I had, I guess, just barely enough skill to get by. I think that was one element that I try to bring to the locker room and really just in everyday life, just based on how it's all fucking gone and how I'm some kid from Welland who's been able to like do what I've done. Like, you know, I was supposed to work at fucking John Deere, right? It was just, I just kind of got hard work and luck met itself a lot of the way. And I just started becoming grateful for it and trying to snap it around as much as possible.
But you also did like during your playing career and shit, you were always setting yourself up for a life after hockey. Was that something that maybe you were just fucking around on Twitter and it worked out this way? Or were you like always knowing that there's some guys after the game's done that can make a career in media? You've obviously taken it to a level that no other hockey player has, but were you trying to do that through your whole career, set yourself up for this later on podcast and media stuff that you're in now?
Yeah, I guess like at first it was just very organic and I never saw it ever getting to where it is now. But like, obviously there's an element of fear that starts creeping in as your career gets towards the end as to what am I going to do next? Like, I don't have an education. I played in the OHL, boys. I mean, my last year junior, I think I took grade 9 geography. I took grade 11 English, current events,
cooking class.
It was an absolute joke. And I think like basically my mom helped me graduate. It just like school wasn't for me. So, you know, it started becoming this thing that I was like, hey, I think I can monetize this and grow it and turn it to somewhat of a business so I could also survive on the back end. Cause like I said, I don't know what type, I mean, I wouldn't trust me as a scout. I can't even remember the guys' fucking names. Right. So take that out of the mix. I mean, I can't keep up with the video and analytics and, you know, being a coach is very stressful and it's very long hours. And, you know, I don't even know if I would be a good coach. So it just it kind of took a mind of its own. And I would say I took a little bit of time away towards the end of my career when I was playing with the Kings organization. Cause, who was Dean Lombardi was the GM there. And he was okay with me coming over, but he said, stay the fuck off Twitter. Like we don't do it like they do in Coyote land, right? We don't need your fucking AHL attention, you loser. No, but like he said it in a funny way, but it was good. It was good to get time away. But in that time I was like, how am I going to swing this into post? And the wheels started turning. And yeah, it's like I said, part of it was definitely fear for what was on the back end. I wanted to be in control a little bit.
Run your own show. So how did Spit and Chicklets, how did that happen for you? I know Whit and Portnoy must be buddies, Barstool, all that stuff. Or how does that kind of come around? Spit and Chicklets was around before you. And then how did you join in with that afterwards?
Yeah, I didn't exactly know what I wanted to do when I retired. So I took that job with the Coyotes, but it's kind of wild how it all aligned. Like when I first retired, before I even started working for that Coyotes, I got together with my buddy Pasha, who I did a little bit of video work with before. And I said, let's do this. Let's do a fucking like crazy content piece. And we ended up calling it Biz Nasty Does BC. And it was like, you know, at the time, like it was so silly, but we were able to get about 15 players to kind of take part in this, like it ain't Eric Andre level. It ain't Sacha Baron Cohen level, but we were pushing this content where we've had this script, but these guys had no clue what they were getting into. We were like, hey, could we get 30 minutes of your time? We ended up getting Morgan Riley for the whole day. Right. So we're going along the way and fucking, you know, learning how to do this video work. And then I kind of proved I could push content. So in the midst of editing that and then starting the Coyotes job, they had already started the podcast. Whit reached out to me. I was like, no, I'm not ready to do it because I know when I hop on, I'm going to let it fly. And like, if it doesn't bring me in anything, I might not be able to have a job with the Coyotes based on the fucking shit that I'm talking about on there. So then it became time to do it. But Whit had already got together with RA because RA reached out to him when he saw the tweet asking me and Kobe Armstrong to do a podcast, which at the time I had no fucking clue what a podcast was. So once RA reached out to Whit, they got together, started doing it. Then Dave reached out to Whit saying, hey, I think you guys should join Barstool. That was like 20, 30 episodes in. This is the wildest one. So Grinelli noticed that the audio could use work and the fact that they probably needed a producer. He wrote RA an email RA was like, read it, didn't answer it. The next podcast they got together to record, it was just RA and Whit, obviously. He had his own mixer, and the mixer ends up breaking halfway through the podcast. So RA's like, well, fuck, I remember that kid emailing me.
No shit.
And he emails back. He hops on the next podcast. They're still doing it in the living room. And obviously the audio got better. RA had one less responsibility. You know, he was better at focusing on his job. And then he was able to help them bring it to that next level. Right. And he wrote the logo on the napkin. I think he passed it off to maybe Grinelli, who brought it to Barstool. They created the logo. Then fast forward, I want to release this, but Biz Does BC. We ended up saying, hey, why don't I just hop on? Bloom, we launch it together, and then
history.
Yeah, it's just so like the Twitter account, it kind of just progressively has just happened very organically, and like I said, it's a very wild, fortunate ride.
Yeah.
And that rate, how it snowballed, is, did you have, in your wildest dreams, did you have any idea it would go the way it went?
No. And people, I think it definitely caught a lot of traction early because I was like letting it fly and like being like this, I was living like a single man.
Yeah. No fucks given. Yeah.
In this, yeah. Like, just like, oh my God, this is so fun. Like, I get to like hang out with amazing people and, it was fun. I was living a fast-paced life that I never thought I would get to enjoy. And I wanted to share some of the funny stories along the way at the beginning, but the line has definitely moved. And I guess some people would probably criticize it, say, oh, they don't talk like they used to. It's like, well, I also don't, I told you a lot of the wild shit that was going on. And I had to throw her neutral at some point. Like I live a different life.
I got to act my age at some point.
Yeah. Like, it's like, it was fun at the time, but like, I don't think it's funny when you're 40 years old talking about running around and being a donkey. It was like, no, I think I did it right. I got it out of the way. I can laugh and say, oh, how silly it all was. Like most of us can. And now there's new shit that I got to go experience.
Yeah.
Like,
there can only be so many shitty Cindy stories.
And boys, like you get to a certain age too, where you have try to have a certain responsibility, and like, you don't exactly feel on waking up the same way either. Like, your anxiety's just way higher. There's more at stake. And, you're trying not to be a degenerate at being a middle-aged man.
Yeah, exactly. What about back to your?
I'm walking a fine line.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
I'm not a degenerate. I can't even fucking pronounce half the English words and shit. But let's blame those on the fights.
Yeah,
you guys know from bull riding.
Sure. Exactly. That's what I want to go do now with that side of it too. Is the hockey fights and the head side of it. You talk about that quite often in different interviews that you're a part of. Is that maybe you do have some effects later on from the fights. Do you regret those days of your career, and do you feel those effects now? And on top of that, you deal with them. There's different interviews where you talk about microdosing, smoking weed, non-conventional ways. Do those help with what you're doing? Because us in the career, me as a bull rider, these guys, bullfighters, it's a huge part of our career too, guys, now dealing with it. We're kind of behind the times where hockey and football are now, and trying to catch up with realizing that, hey, we have to take care of our heads.
Yeah, you guys are legitimate cowboys. Like, I was going to ask you guys, like I think like at the professional level in some cases, is wearing even a helmet a faux pas?
You have to wear them now if you're born after 1994. So it's kind of like
hockey. It's coming in with the visor, like the visor thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, 100%.
But there's still guys that don't wear them, the older guys. But yeah, everybody nowadays kind of like hockey. It'll be weird.
You guys wear them? And I forgot the legend's name already. That's the CTE kicking in.
Scott.
Well, both of you guys. Like, do you wear a helmet?
I did.
Never in our bullfighting careers we didn't, but bull riders, yeah.
And as bullfighters, nobody does. But you know what? There will come a time that something will change that, and somebody will have to wear one, and it'll become kind of the mainstream, just like helmets and bull riders, So I don't know. It just takes.
Scotty, then you'll be the one on the podcast talking about the old days, like oh yeah, no helmets, and they're going to be listening to you guys like you're the craziest motherfucker. They'll be thinking that you were basically Wild West, where you used to draw and shoot each other.
That's right.
That's going to be the separation at that point.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's one of those things too. Like, certain guys may be upset at the fact that they weren't made completely aware of what maybe the future would have held based on the results of the lifestyle they had to live and how they had to earn money. I look at it a few ways. Like, it was my choice. Like, when I got called up as a fourth liner in the American League, where the writing was on the wall, where I'd never played forward in my life, but they're like fourth line left wing, and they knew that I was a scrappy person where, like, if somebody took a run at me, I would have handled my own business.
Yeah.
Did I know that I was going to eventually have to do it, like, most nights in order to, like, survive? I kind of was like, fuck it, let's try it. And I dove right in, and I saw the positive reinforcement and the fact that I've kind of found a niche to where maybe it could get me to the NHL level. Like, I'm grateful. Like, I paid me a lot of money to do that. Like, I was making league minimum, which is like, fuck, dude, I was making 550 grand a year. That's like, tell me, what are the highest bull riders making?
Fucking
well, yeah, 1.5 million usually if a champion, like,
but they're
for the
fucking
champion.
they're living good, right?
To win the world title is $1 million bonus, but they take the top 35 to the world finals every year. So it's like one team, right? There's 35 guys in the world, bull riders, that are making pretty solid money. And the guy in 35th might be making 100 grand max.
That's what I'm saying.
That's fucking topping it.
I'll tell you what, like, and those guys know what they're signing up for, maybe even more so than what, like, hockey guys do. But back then it was what we did. And, like, we and also, like, majority of the guys who were doing it embraced it. And if they didn't, you always knew, because, like, they didn't do it as much.
Yeah.
They shied away from it. And that was a separation there. And yeah, so as far as just like now, it's like, you live with, maybe, not having it all there some days. But I would also say that the partying and the coping mechanisms and the drinking and having a good time probably had just as much to do with it as how I feel some days. I mean, dehydrating our brain for 4 days while you just, you go on a bender and you party, and
we can feel you on that one. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Players, bull riders.
I've done my fair share of ketox, boys. Like, I partied, I fucking partied. So yeah, it's like, you leave it then, and I'm fucking grateful for the ride.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like it's paid dividends, which is awesome. I like those stories. I love those stories. Part of the work we do as agents, and even as professional athletes are in our own right, all four of us, that day is coming when it's over. And what do you do when it's done? We don't, a lot of contracts in professional sports don't always set you up for the rest of your life. So that becomes a dark time, I think, in people's lives when they know they're coming to the end in their career, and what's next. You got a wife, you might have 1 or 2 kids, or one on the way. You got the dog, of course, right? Like, how are you going to pay for the food on the table? And it weighs on you.
I start a podcast like I tried to do.
Yeah. So you hit the nail on the head, like that. And I never had a family to deal with either. Like that was something I knew I had to wait for, because, like, the balance of it all would have been too much. And it can break certain people in the simple fact of, I look at it like this, like, my whole life, and it's like almost childish to say, but our whole schedule in life was laid out.
Yeah.
You show up for the season, and, like, your itinerary's made.
Yeah.
Oh, you get a speeding ticket. Well, there's a guy who works for the team who's going to be able to help you with it. Like, it's just like they were there to take the pressures off. And, we're all of a sudden you get out of it, and you got to learn how to adapt to, like, everyday society, and, like, and learning how to do all these things on your own, and make your own schedule, and make sure you're bringing yourself to the gym. And, it's and also now trying to find a new way on how to put food on the table for your family. And in some guys' cases, like, they don't have to worry about that, because they made enough money.
Yeah.
But there's a majority of guys who didn't.
Right.
Like that.
You're right.
We did that ECHL player relief fund, but I played in the coast. I know guys who were playing after taxes and everything. They were pocketing $250 a week.
Yeah.
And some of them were starting families. Now it's like, holy shit. Like, yeah, you might want to, not start a family maybe that young when you're in the fucking coast chipping away in the corners, but hey, that was their reality. And you gotta make sure, hopefully they can be taken care of. So it's the jungle down there for sure.
So when you go into different interviews, so now you talk about how you were really wild at the start and you guys have half toned her down just because you're getting older and that's kind of the way it goes. But when guys come on your pod and then you hear the repercussions of them saying something and then they get fired, like a Jeremy Roenick, does that change your guys' mentality at all, or you still have to go full fucking board because that's what got you to where you're at today?
Well, like yeah, I think we're just focusing on different topics too, and I think that we're doing enough research to where like we don't want to, yeah, we don't want guys to get fired. Like that whole situation sucked. Like I still feel like shit about it, and you know, I felt terrible for Catherine at the fact that she had to deal with that publicly, and
Right.
you know, of course, JR losing his job, and you know, what sucked about the whole situation too is, so it was in the midst of the interview, and sometimes when you're in the midst of the interview, you know, sometimes you're feeling a little bit more anxious. Well, we got fucking Jeremy Roenick on,
Yeah.
so
Fuck.
I'm thinking of my next question of what I'm gonna
Yep.
want to ask him and have teed up, and you know, when it was said, I think I made a remark like kind of like, oh, easy there, you know, you don't want to. But I would imagine that because they'd hung out for 3 weeks on a vacation together, they fucking like they maybe made a joke like that, you know,
Yeah.
to where like, you know, if my buddy was sitting around with my wife and like he made a joke like that, like I wouldn't hold it. It's just like, you know, it's a joke. Like that's
Yeah.
our sense of humor. I'm not saying it's right on a public platform, but it was said maybe because he felt comfortable to say it. And then we moved on. And then I afterwards, you know, we always asked, hey, was there anything you wanted out? Not even remembering that had happened.
Yeah.
Right.
And I took full responsibility because I'm like, fuck, I didn't even remember that.
But that's
And
not
I'm
your
like,
fault, right? It's just
well,
fucking
but,
shit
but
happens.
yeah, right. But you're also trying to protect the guests because we don't want things like that happening. And like,
Yeah,
you
people
know,
thinking that.
yeah, like we're not out to get anybody. It's not
Yeah.
how, it's not what we're doing. We're out here to like joke
Have
around and
fun.
get
Have
guys
some fun.
and have some fun. And that one really snowballed. And you know, there's a side of hockey media that is just, it's very liberal, and we're trying to keep the peace.
Yep.
Because I'm fully moving forward. Like I don't, you know, whatever gender you want to be, whoever you want to be with, inclusion, like, you know, diversity, fucking rights, all of it. Let's go. Let's be, you know, let's be progressive here.
Yeah.
And it kind of just like it's like this huge battle. It's like we don't want it or something. It's like, hey guys, we made a mistake. Let's move on here. Like let's stop slinging the mud back and forth. This is crazy. So that's kind of where that went, and it sucked to see it all play out.
Yeah.
So that kind of answers the whole, I guess, JR situation to you, just
Yeah.
as raw as I can make it.
Yeah, not necessarily just him in a sense. It's more of, like, are you worried about what you're saying to your guests because you don't want to go over the line? And then that kind of leads into the next question of the
They can
NHL.
take anything out. They
Yeah,
can
they
take
can take it
anything
all
out
out.
they want, right? So it's we give everybody that option. We don't want to put anybody at jeopardy. We've kiboshed a few interviews where we haven't released them just because it's like it would light a fire. Like
Yeah.
we're trying to be we're trying to be sensitive to people's feelings to a certain degree.
Yeah. Is there people within the NHL or even say the Coyotes organization that you work with on the other side of things where they fucking give you a PP slap, or they're always after you guys or phoning or emailing and not happy with what you guys are saying or doing?
No,
Yeah,
I think most people who are at the high levels like understand that we're not like evil people.
Yeah.
And we got yeah. So there's no, it's been great, man. I've gotten to work with the NHL a bunch. They are awesome to work with. Obviously I love working for Barstool because, you know, they allow us to do whatever we want. So, no, we have a lot of good working relationships with everyone, and we want to keep growing that and trying to grow the game. We're just trying to take our platform and expose these awesome personalities and have as much fun as possible with it, because we think that hockey does have a dynamic of the personalities seem to be a lot more relatable than maybe in other sports.
Yeah.
Might be a strong Canadian, and you know, Canadians are just genuinely like a little bit softer, right?
We're
nicer.
I think we're just
people.
absolute beauties, us Canadians, right? You know.
Yeah.
And on that
little tire pump for ourselves there.
Right. And on that note, Biz comes from the Arizona hockey market where they're you know, you're probably putting more asses in the seats because of what you're doing, which the Phoenix Coyotes could use. If you've ever been to a game pre-COVID unless it's against the Calgary Flames or the Edmonton Oilers, you're looking at there's usually more fans at a Flames game or Edmonton game than there is Yotes fans, which I think that's beginning to pivot towards the Yotes favor, is it not?
Yeah, I think they're doing a great job. I mean, not making playoffs for a certain amount of years doesn't help, especially in a non-traditional market. But we got these new owners, and they're new to the sporting world, and I think that they're really going to make an effort to build this franchise and actually spend money. And as far as the fan base, it's I think it's strong, and it can get stronger. I think they're doing a lot of smart things off the ice in order to try to get more involved with the community. And they've obviously taken a few off the chin in the last probably 12 months where they're trying to figure it out, and people make mistakes. So let's hope they can keep it going. And as far as me getting to join them in my post career, it's been awesome. They were the team that gave me my opportunity for 5 years, and I'm forever grateful. We joked around before I hopped on about how loyal I am. And it just seems to have been this unbelievable relationship, and the people around the organization are incredible, because I wouldn't be here if they weren't. And they all are. And that's when all the stuff, and the franchise struggles sometimes, and we're trying to get more. I see the people as hard as they're working on the inside, where it's like, fuck, let's go. We can get this done. All the people around here who have been waiting this out for a while can watch it succeed. And I think it's going to happen. So that's another. You asked about my working relationships earlier with the NHL and stuff.
Yeah.
No, it's been good. And I think they've seen that I've tried to come to a more neutral standpoint on some of the subjects I might have been more persistent on earlier in my days.
Yeah. So what about PBR side, rodeo side? Are you a fan at all? Have you taken in any events, maybe Madison Square Garden, Glendale, or Calgary Stampede, maybe something like that? Are you a fan of the sport by any chance?
I've seen it before. I think it's crazy. I did the Calgary Stampede.
Yeah.
They actually have bull riding in Cave Creek, Arizona.
Yeah.
And Donor brought it to us one year after our season, and I think all of them were wearing helmets. And I think that any civilian could sign up as long as you signed a waiver.
Yeah, I was there 3 years ago. I went in my flip-flops and shorts, kind of incognito.
Yeah.
What a great, and I'm trying to remember the name of that pub. Were you at the bar outside with the little arena, and it was just packed with
Buffalo
people
Chip,
hanging?
isn't it?
Buffalo Chip. Nice, Scotty.
Yeah.
Nice, Scotty.
Yeah. What a place. Well, what did interest
cool.
you?
That's cool about here is you can go into the old town Scottsdale and party up in the clubs, or you could drive 20 minutes the other way and you could be in a bar like that where there's cowboys there, and it's a funky
fire
place.
Pits outside, outside fire pits, people standing around and they're serving ice cold beer. Beauty.
That's more of my speed now, that stuff.
Yeah.
So if we got you the opportunity to maybe get up close and personal and actually sit down on one and tie your hand to one, what would Biz say to that proposal?
Oh man. I think younger days I might have. I would have to get in shape before I got on a bull. Maybe
it's even better. It's even better if you don't. It's
media-wise,
better entertainment.
Media-wise,
I need a couple hot yoga classes, and then maybe I'll fucking hop on. I'll do some wrist curls for a month.
Yeah.
Well, the PBR was just in Glendale there 2 weeks ago. Next time I'll reach out to you, and hopefully this travel shit's a little more normal, and we'll reach out to you. And
I'll bring the film crew.
Yeah, 100%.
We'll do a red carpet. Chicklets exclusive.
Sure, we'll red carpet it for you. You can count on it.
Yeah,
maybe Shane Doan and Stan Wilson can be my trainers.
Yeah, there it is.
I guarantee it. I guarantee it.
In the lead up, I'll get the huge belt buckle. I'll start dipping.
Yeah,
I got a nice cowboy hat in my closet here.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, I talked to Stan Wilson last night, and he spoke very highly of you, and said that you were a great guy to be around the whole time you were in. He said I'll be honest, he said you were a pain in the ass when you first showed up, but you turned out to be a really good guy, and turned out to be really good friends in the end. So
I was just this young idiot, like space cadet, like ADD, I don't think Stano understood it, and I think as time went on, he's like, oh, this guy's just like that fucking stupid. So he ended up not liking me pretty good, and I calmed down a little bit too.
He said, yeah, you guys had to have a couple coming to Jesus meetings, and then things started leveling out after that.
He directed me in the right path, but he was patient, and I love Stano for it, and I'm glad that he's a guy I respect. So I'm glad he came around the corner on me.
Yeah.
Well,
sure.
you talk about Stan and Donor. There's a few of our old clients that were your teammates: Labs, Derek Morris, Jim Vandermeer. I don't know if you got to play with Pete at all. Boyd Gordon. Can you touch on those boys? Pretty good old. Well, for the most part, Sasky boys and Alberta, Western Canadian boys.
Yeah, one thing about Mo is, first thing that pops into my head is his work ethic. His summer routine and how he would get ready for a hockey season was fucking crazy. Like, he used to go to this Exos place here. I think it might have been called Athletes Performance beforehand, but I think 6 days a week, and he would be at the gym for 3 hours, and mobility, conditioning at the end always. And it was, a big reason why he was able to play at the level that he did for so long. And he's a guy that you're like, holy shit, this guy's been around for so long, and you've seen him go through the ups and downs. Also a guy who plays with a chip on his shoulder too. I don't think a lot of people knew how tough he was. Like, once his fucking wires crossed, oh geez, look out.
The wrapper come off the nutty bar.
Yeah. And oh fuck yeah. And he was always good to me. I think he was another guy who was kind of like, who the fuck is this young idiot? And same old school mentality as maybe Stano. And I think we ended up towards the end having a better relationship than maybe we did at the start. I think he maybe understood me a little better, but I think Jans also helped that too, because he was so close with Jans. And Mo was such a generous guy. Like, as soon as you got there, if you were the new guy, he would make sure, like, hey, you want to go for lunch? And he'd pick it up and be like, you'll love it here. Like, the guys are great, and always want to make everyone feel welcome. So Mo was a great man. Great man.
Good. That's good to hear.
So Barstool now working under Spit and Chicklets. How does it all kind of run where you're allowed to kind of do other stuff? Obviously these podcasts and shit like that, you don't have to sign a contract directly with Barstool and you're only under Barstool. Are you allowed to go and do all your other endeavors and have your own sponsors and all that other stuff?
So that's the one thing that I promised myself when I started my post career, was I was going to open up an LLC. I called it Press Box, for obvious reasons, where I spend most of my time.
Gold. Yeah. Okay.
I love that. That's golden.
Yeah. So, and I said that nobody will ever own me exclusively. I'll always get to do, I'll basically send an invoice type of thing. So yeah, because that way I can have creative control until, like, if I get asked to do something, I'll be able to do it. And, everyone I've worked with has been, very, very supportive of that, because I think I've snapped my time around enough to each of them to where they're not feeling slighted. And it's been awesome. And I would recommend anybody do that. And that's the thing now, is that there's so many different opportunities with access to the internet and being able to do things on your own, where you don't have to do things the conventional way anymore.
Yep.
Stop relying. Like, I don't want to rely on any one source for my income, because, like, what if somebody else comes in charge and they ain't exactly feeling what you're doing?
Yeah.
And then you get snipped, and then now you're at nothing. No, I want to, if anybody can be in more control of what they have going on. And, I think you can do so by ask questions, seek out different opportunities, and try to do it your own way as much as possible. And I find that, will there be a little bit more stress involved, but I think that most people will be happier in the end.
Definitely.
Right. I like that.
Yeah.
Right from the start, with the name Press Box. That's but that just speaks Paul Bissonnette right there. It does. That's your twist on it, and that's damn cool. I like that.
Yeah, and that's how I was with this company called Victory at the beginning, and I actually was making that Biz Does BC for them, but they were having problems internally, and, like, we just had a falling out. So I basically funded. It cost me $70,000 to fund that project I did, that Biz Does BC. So I was essentially out of pocket. And then that's why Barstool we ended up working out a deal and figuring that out. But yeah, like you got to take risks, and it doesn't happen overnight. And I wanted to take a risk on myself there, and it ended up working out to a certain degree. And
Oh, what a great note for our
yeah,
listeners to hear that.
I would push that on anybody. Just try,
Yeah.
you know, and if it doesn't, hey, at least you can live with the fact that it didn't work out.
Yeah.
You
You
know, it doesn't.
stepped up to the plate and you swung for the fence, and you're
could-
not going to hit it out of the park every time. But if you keep getting up there and swinging the bat, one of these times it's going to pay off for you. So
It could be a slow play too. It doesn't need to be overnight either. It doesn't need to be 3 years. It could be a 15-year play. It could be something that you're starting while you have your own job, that you might be associated to a company where they kind of, you know, it doesn't have to be at the, if you have the opportunity where you're at the start, I would recommend it. If you're not, it's not too late either.
Yeah.
Well,
Go do it now.
look at the NFP podcast, Tanner. 19 episodes later, and we got the legend.
You fucking
We
right.
have the legend inside 20.
Well,
Yeah.
here's another thing too, is I believe that most podcasts only last 7 or 8 episodes. So
Oh, fuck.
so there you go.
We made it.
It's all perspective, right? So now
Yeah.
you've done it 19. Next thing you know, you're at 100, and you're like, oh shit, I never thought we'd have this many listeners. And well, it's just like if you put your head down and you work long enough, it's just like when you finally pull your head up, you're like, oh shit, we actually did something here.
Definitely.
Well, and that's one thing and we don't know each other well at all, Biz, but work ethic, I don't think is anything you've ever lacked in your career by the sounds of it.
Yeah, no, I think that maybe I partied a little too much towards the end of my
Hey,
career.
that's all right. Work hard, play hard.
Instead of, I could have spent maybe a little bit more time in the gym. But yeah, post career for sure. Yeah, it's been fun trying to, I mean, our whole crew does. I mean, Grinelli works his absolute balls off. I mean, Whit's a hard worker. He's great at the interviews and everything. And RA fucking crushes it too. So we got an amazing team, and it's been a fun ride.
All right. Well, Biz, we've held you for a long time here. We know you're a very busy man. Scott has our infamous question for you.
Well, Biz, it's been great talking to you, man. We all know this is the hashtag NFP podcast. You know our take on it. We want to know what yours is.
Yeah. How do you say it again? No
fucking pussies. But it's everybody their own.
I'm gonna say no F in the P.
There it is.
That's old PG Biz here.
Yeah.
What does it mean to me? I mean, geez. I mean, it's geez, that's a very I've had long answers this entire time, so I'll probably be long-winded about this one.
That's good.
You got the floor, man. You got the floor.
I guess in my situation, it's just, you know, waking up every day and putting the work in, and you know, as life goes on, I think, you know, with more responsibility, as we talked about earlier, life does get harder. And, you know, I think that, you know, getting up every day and putting your big boy pants on and getting the work done and putting the time in will eventually lead to more happiness. And I think that more people need to take accountability. And I think that the people that's what not being a fucking pussy means to me is getting up and putting your own work in and ultimately it resulting to your own results.
Yeah, that's wicked.
Accountability.
Awesome,
Accountability. That's good. So what about next for Biz? You guys, you do the sandbaggers. People could, if they haven't listened to the Spit and Chicklets podcast, head to your Twitter, head to your Instagram. You're always fucking doing something that's super entertaining. I'm a huge fan. We all are here at the NFP podcast. But what do you see in the future? Is there going to be some acting gigs maybe, or is it the how long's the Chicklets going to roll for? What's in the future?
I don't know, man. I mean, you've seen my acting. It's not great. It's got to improve. So I would love to try to get into it. Obviously, it's something that I've never done. Memorizing lines is so difficult. Most of the time I do my stuff, I'm able to have a teleprompter, and then you take it enough times to where you memorize it to a certain degree where you're remembering where your face needs to be when you deliver the line. But these fucking people who can memorize like a paragraph, I need a couple prescriptions of Adderall to do that.
Too many head hits. We've had too many head hits, I think, for that.
Yeah, exactly. I'd have to do it like Curb Your Enthusiasm style, where it's ad lib. Yeah. We had Sean Avery on our podcast a couple times, and he's been able to transfer over and become an actor. Yep. Like he sent me some of his tapes that he sent in where he's got them memorized, And it's
Right.
pretty fascinating, and he's done a great job. And another guy that I talked to about that side of it. So it would be something that I would love to do. We'll see when I get enough time, once the other things slow down, when I'm not pumping out sandbaggers.
Fuck yeah. Can you tell the people what the sandbaggers are all about? Because that's becoming just as big for me as the podcast itself.
Yeah, so it's just one of those other things is you take a chance, and we got a text from Crosby. Well, Witt did, and he goes, Sid wants to sit
No big
down
deal.
for an interview, and I'm like, fuck off. I'm like, that's it. Like, that's our generation. We both got to play with him. Like, I mean, he'll go down as one of the most respected hockey players of all time. Just the way he carries himself, the way he's a legend.
Yeah. And
then we find out that McKinnon's there and he's willing to do a sit down too. And we're like, holy fucking shit, and we weren't getting as many downloads or weren't as big as back then when we found out we were getting that. So we're going to Halifax, and I'm going to a trip to St. John, and I'm doing a bunch of filming over there before I get to Halifax. So I'm thinking in my head, hey, Whit, why don't we fucking go golfing with these guys? And I'll get my buddy Posh, who's with me, to video it.
Yeah.
So we talk, Sid, hey, let's do this. And he's like, hey, we'll go golfing, but like no cameras. And I'm like, yeah, let's see if we can fucking swing this. So long story short, Sid kiboshed it a couple times, and I tell Pasha after we get the 2 interviews that morning, we're going golfing in the afternoon. So we're fucking over the moon at how the interviews went. We're so excited, especially the McKinnon one, because he opened up about his mental health stuff, and it was unreal. It was awesome. Big for an athlete of that regard to do so, to tell kids that was good. It was perfect.
Yep.
So I tell Pasha, I said, hey, show up around the 2nd or 3rd hole.
No shit.
So he shows up. We got the CCM stick out. We cut the fucking opening. And next thing you know, he's too nice, right? He's not saying anything. So Pasha's videoing the whole match. And we'd already worked out the strokes. And I didn't realize how short the course was playing. And I was also playing lights out that day. And I was getting a shot every hole. And McKinnon fucking lost it because he's so competitive. Witt made a comment like, hey, man, like they're going to think you're sandbagging. You've hit like in the fairway and then onto the green every time. You're putting for fucking birdie net eagle every time. And then McKinnon hears it and he's like, fucking Biz, a fucking sandbagger. And he loses it, starts yelling at the camera. So we end up capturing this match. We win the dinner. We edit the film, and I'm like, fuck, we should call it the Sandbagger Invitational.
Yeah.
And we dropped the video. I think it's got like 1.5 million views right now. And we're like, I'm like, fuck. I'm like, Pasha we can keep doing these together, get more film crew, get an audio crew, and we can make them sick. And that was like my creative side. We get them sponsored. The Pink Whitney started popping up. So I'm like, we can incorporate the Pink Whitney because it's fucking summer drink. Everybody's drinking it on the golf course.
Yep.
And now we're doing them work. We'll do 9 or 10 a year. And we got like a 5-man crew, 2 audio guys. I got Pasha who edits the thing, implements the music. Of course, we're going to keep getting two good golfers on. And that has turned into its own little enterprise of its own, right? Now we're in the golf world.
Oh, it's
now
huge.
Witt gets to do something that he loves.
Yeah.
I get to try to figure it out, which is not going very well. I'm getting fucking worse at golf. I've been progressively on a downhill spiral because I'm such a mental midget on the course. And we're pumping out. We'll probably get 300,000-400,000 views on each one. So it's worked out.
And you're dangling new sponsors in. You got TaylorMade on board. Fucking opens up so many more opportunities.
So then we just hired another video guy too. So now we can improve on other areas of our business in the video department to push out better quality content. So it just, it slowly add the pieces, right?
Yeah.
100%.
You're building an empire.
Next thing, you guys will be selling out live shows inside of Texas Stadium where the
fucking
Cowboys play.
Yeah. Well, we got to get hooked up with Barstool and we'll be the Western lifestyle fucking spitting chicklets to hockey. That'd be the goal.
The bull riding version.
Fucking rights, man. 100%.
The Yellowstone version of Barstool.
Yeah, fucking right.
Bingo.
What about Pink Whitney? How did that come about? You're obviously a part owner in it, or what's the story behind Pink Whitney? Everybody loves it, and we finally got it in Canada. How did it come about, and what's it all about?
That's the another crazy one. We talked about Sandbagger, where that went. And this was one where New Amsterdam, because of the size of the podcast and where it had gone, and they were getting together with hockey, they said, let's sponsor this podcast. And on the first episode, mention what you like mixed with your drink. And Whit loves, pink lemonade with vodka. So we saw more and more people, and our fans normally direct us what to do. They communicate what they love. They started hashtagging the Pink Whitney and sending us pictures of them. So me and my buddy, we kept talking about it, and he was pressing. He's like, bro, I filed for the domains. Like, we need to like do this. Yeah. So we mentioned it a couple of times to Barstool. They were busy with other things. Whit was like, no, we're a podcast. Fuck that. Shut it down. And then finally Whit's wife mentioned it. He kind of was like, Biz said that. He agreed to it. I said, fucking tell New Amsterdam and Barstool that you want to do it. And we want to do it as a podcast. So finally we all agreed to do it. And, we've sold 15 million bottles of it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I just want to say one more thing. It's not only a summer drink, it's a year round drink.
It's the hockey drink.
Yeah.
And
awesome.
it took on a mind of its own, and it's been a wild ride. And now we're able to do we're able to do more Sandbaggers and have the crew that we're able to have, because we're able to put some of those resources towards that. So it's like the fans dictate. They tell us what they love. If they don't like something I talked about on the podcast, most of them usually let me know, and they tell me, shut the fuck up about this. It's like, okay, to a certain level, and you listen to them, and you do. And then we started doing these pond hockey tournaments. Yep. Fucking right. So I might get back on the blades and start playing. So we get to play with fans and, chirp fest and video the whole thing. So these fans who show up to these events and enjoy the drinks and listen to tunes and, meet new friends and smoke some dope and exchange funny stories. It's eventually we're going to turn it into these fun pond hockey tournaments too.
A fucking empire turn it into.
It's just like, hey, let's all, everyone, we all seem to like the same shit and joking around and enjoying pops and fucking being shitty at hockey. So let's play.
Right.
Just no scraps anymore.
Yeah. No more fighting. That's good.
I'll be fighting the puck. That's it.
All right, Biz, man, we appreciate you big time coming on this podcast and for all of our
100%,
listeners.
100%, Paul. Really appreciate it.
That was great. No, I respect what you guys are doing, and I really appreciate your time. And to all your fans, thanks for listening. I know I ramble on sometimes, but looking forward to getting together with you guys when you're down here for the bull riding.
Okay, we'll make sure that you got the carpet, red carpet rolled out for sure. We'll keep in touch on that for sure.
Okay, awesome. Thanks again, guys.
Thanks, buddy.
All right, peace out.
Thank you.
See you, boys.
See you later. From the NFP podcast, this has been Paul Biz Nasty Bissonnette. Thank you.